Hey everyone, welcome back to Paper Made Me Do It. I wanted to share a new product with you, and then I'm going to go right into a pen comparison between 3 fountain pens. This product that I wanted to share is from Galen Leather in Turkey, and I've ordered several products from them throughout the years, but it had been a while. I had received some gifts from them that my parents gave me for Christmas this past year, and I had not purchased anything yet this year, or at least I don't think I had. And over the past few months, they've been sending marketing emails with discount codes, and all of their marketing has been very clever this year, I've noticed. But the last one that they sent last month, it just did me in. It said something along the lines of, "We're continuing to drift further and further apart. Was it something we said?" And it had a discount code attached to the email. And so as soon as I got that email, I was like, okay, Galen, I'm going to place an order now just to reward your genius marketing campaign. It was just too cute. And so this is the item that I decided to purchase with my discount code. It is one of their leather pen cases. It has a zip closure, and they use silver zippers. This is one of their newer leather choices. So this is the first product I have in this leather. I believe it's called Smoky Gray. Absolutely love it. It's very, very smooth, but it does have those beautiful rustic markings right out the gate. And even though it is super smooth to the touch, it is that type of leather that distresses very easily. So if you take a fingernail to it, you can see how easily it scratches, which does not bother me a bit. I actually really like seeing leather marked up over time, but I just wanted you to be aware of that in case that's something that you have a problem with. This would not be something that you would want to, say, toss in and out of a bag, because it will get marked up as it comes into contact with other items. But it smells delicious. It is a beautiful color. And this is one of their 5 pen cases. So you get the 5 elastic loops on the left side, and then on the right side there is one pocket that just conveniently takes a field note size notebook. So that is what the case looks like. And just for comparison, I also have one of their leather zip covers in the natural undyed leather, and this is in the A5 size. So if you would like a size comparison of the 5 pen and the A5, that is going to be your size difference. It's actually, I don't have one within reach to show you right now, but it looks like it would be almost identical to A6 size, which is basically half of A5. So if you're familiar with A6, that is about the size of this case. But all of their products are always very well made. You know, the stitching and craftsmanship is just really, really nice. And the inside is like a soft fabric. But what I wanted to compare are 3 of the pens that I'm keeping in this case right now. These are a result of my recent hard tumble down the rabbit hole into the Pelikan or Pelikan brand from Germany. We'll start with the M200. This is what I considered an entry-level pen into the brand, And this was the first of the 3 that I purchased. This is in the brown marble. You can see the pretty barrel. It's very lightweight. It is a piston fill. They all are piston fill. And you can see this ink window. I'm not sure if it's showing or not, but you can look through that slightly transparent window at the tip. And as you tilt it, you can see how much ink you have left in the pen. This is in an extra fine nib. And this is a stainless steel nib. It will accept the M400 gold nib. So if you wanted to upgrade this pen, you could add a gold nib from the M400 size and it would switch right out. I was anticipating wanting to do that to this pen before I actually received it. But when I received it, it just wrote so beautifully straight out of the box. It has a little bit of spring to it, and I'll do a writing sample with all of these before I close this video out. But I've been so satisfied with how this pen writes as is that I don't know that I'll ever upgrade the nib on it. And so I'm going to go in order of model, even though this was my most recent purchase. This is the M400. You can see a comparison of the cap. Both the 400 and the 800 both have a gold end cap, and the 200 has a black end cap. But this M400 is in the Tortoise brown. And that barrel is absolutely what got me. It just looks so amazingly cool. Even though it's brand new, it just looks like something that's antique. It has that antique analog vibe. And what's cool about it is it also, if you put it in the proper lighting, it's easy for me to see in real life. I don't think I'm going to be able to show it in the video just because of how my lighting is structured here. But when you hold this body up to the light, you can also see the ink inside and easily tell how much ink you have left in the pen. And so it comes with a gold nib, and I chose fine for the size. And I purchased this one from a retailer who also happens to do nib work, a nibmeister, as they say. So he includes the option to have nib work done prior to shipping a new pen to you. If you choose to do that, it's not required. But because I had some initial issues with this purchase, which I'll talk about in just a second, when I ordered the M400, I did ask him to make sure that the nib was properly tuned and smoothed before he ever shipped it to me. So would it write as well as it does now had that not happened? I mean, who can say? But all I can say is it is an amazing writer now. So I'm completely happy with it. I have to think that has a little something to do with the tune and smooth before it was shipped. And that was done by the Nibsmith. And so this is an M800 in the brown black. And so it has a body that's similar to the Tortoise, but the lines are a little straighter. Not that these are not straight, but there's less variation in these lines than there is in the Tortoise, if you can see that on camera. And so this is obviously the largest of the three. Now 200, 400, there is a 600 model that size-wise is between these two. And then there's also an M1000 that, if you can imagine, is even larger than the 800. I would like to possibly try a 600 in the future, but I will never add a 1000 to my collection simply because the size of my hands. This 800 is almost pushing it. So I definitely don't need one larger than this, but it is a gorgeous pen as well. It has a gold nib, and I chose extra fine two-tone nib. And not only are the bodies of the pen different in size as you go up into the higher model numbers, the nibs go up in size as well. Of course, 200 and 400 are going to be the same size. That's the one that has the interchangeable nib that I mentioned earlier. But look at the difference between those nibs and the nib of the 800. Quite a difference. And then the 400 and 800 nibs are both two-tone, and the 200 nib is just a solid gold finish, but it is a stainless steel material. Okay, so let me show you with writing. These three write very differently. The 200 I have inked up with Noodler's Apache Sunset. And I was really shocked at how wonderful this pen writes. When I first opened it, I don't know what I was expecting, but knowing that it was a stainless nib, I wasn't expecting to be so wowed with the writing experience. But it's just so smooth, and I don't know if it's coming across on camera or not, but I had mentioned earlier it almost has a little spring to it. And you do get some line variation if you want it. So even though it's not advertised in this way at all, it really almost feels like a semi-flex to me. It's just a beautiful pen. Okay. See if I can demonstrate that line variation. Okay. So that is the 200. I would definitely recommend this pen, especially if you have small hands like I do. It's very comfortable, and I do post it when I write with it. Now the 400 is about the same size, and this is the one that I mentioned. I had the nib tuned and smoothed before it came to me. I can get a little of that same line variation with this one if I want it. It doesn't feel quite as springy as the 200, but I still love this nib. in this pen. So it writes very, very well. And you can see there what I was trying to show earlier, the ink in the barrel. I'm almost out. And this is a sample ink that I have. It's Kyo no Oto Yamabuki Iro #4. It's like a gold. And then the 800. This is going to work out for me. It was not the wowing that I had hoped for and anticipated when I first ordered it. But I've since learned that I was gripping the pen far too tightly, I believe, when I did my first unboxing and writing sample with it, as well as putting too much pressure on it. Because it was the second purchase I made, I had assumed that it would write even more softer and springier than the 200, with it being a gold nib. But it is not springy at all. It is difficult for me to write in this type of cursive with it because it has a totally different feel. See, I'm not satisfied with that writing sample at all. But for print, it works very well for me. And even for just what I call messy, kind of everyday cursive, it works fine. But it is a much firmer nib, and there is some mild, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not really, I hate to say scratchy, almost scratchy though. The only thing I can say is that for the price of this pen, the writing experience is not there like it was with these two. Now, that being said, after I received the 400, it is too hard for me to tell with the naked eye, but I did take a picture with my phone of these two nibs side by side, and I used the zoom on my phone camera and just zoomed it in as much as I possibly could. And with the nibs zoomed in, it became pretty apparent to me that the line that goes down the nib to separate the tines on the 400 is perfectly straight, and the distance between the tines is perfectly symmetrical all the way down. And I could see on this 800 that the line going down is not perfectly symmetrical. When it's zoomed in, it almost looks like it closes in toward the tip. So I really just feel like this nib needs to be tuned and smoothed. So I do plan to send it off and have that done, and I am pretty confident that when I get it back, it's going to be a game changer, and this is going to be a dream pen. I will say, and have said recently, that I do believe it's a shame that that process has to happen for the price that we pay for a pen of this stature. But I don't want to complain and jinx myself. I've heard that probably be the only or the main negative comment about this brand on social media, is that there, for whatever reason, tends to be quite a bit of inconsistencies in the actual nibs. So After I receive this back, after having the nib work done, I will definitely post another video and let y'all know how it went. But you can see here no line variation at all, which is not a negative. None of these pens are advertised to have line variation or be a flex. That was just kind of an added bonus in the smaller pens for me. So it's writing fair now and decent, but I just feel like it's going to write as it should once I have some nib work done to it. So that is my kind of mini review and little comparison for these 3 pens. If you have any other questions, I'm definitely not an expert in fountain pens. I'm just a user and a lover, but I thought the size would be one thing that some of you may want to see. Not only the size of the actual pen, but the size of the nibs, and then of course those writing samples. So if there's anything else that you would like to see compared or have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer if I can. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you soon.